Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. This is Ricardo Resnick. I'm the CEO of the Multipoint Group. Very glad to be with you today. We are going to talk today about an excellent product and something very useful for everybody in the cybersecurity market, encryption. I'm very glad to distribute CypherDog in different countries. I just want to, for those of you that don't know about Multipoint, I want to show you a little bit what our company does. We are a distributor focused on cyber security solutions. We have offices in Dubai with several people for just 2 years, in Greece for many years, and Cyprus. Lately, we opened an office in Turkey, where we have 3 excellent gentlemen: Estonia, Tallinn, Poland, Romania, Bulgaria, and Moldova. We are basically focused, as I said, in cybersecurity and networking. We also offer you professional services like training or consultancy if you need, but our main business is selling software. As I said before, we are an international value-added distributor with different offices, and we have an agreement of cooperation with another company, a big distributor in Spain called Encryption. These are some of the vendors that we distribute. All of them are niche products that can help you and save you a lot of headaches, like CypherDog in the encryption market. I recommend you, if you want to keep everything safe, use encryption. It's the best way to stop any hackers. This is part of our team of pre-sales people that can help you install, or if you have any question of our CypherDog, they will gladly help you with that. So I'm passing to Presemek, and he will share the presentation. That's for you.
Yes, hello everybody. I know, but my name is terrible for us, but short version of Przemysław is Przemek. And I know that this is always first question of my people who I talk, how they should pronounce my name. So it means the short version is Przemek. Okay, I will share my screen. And you probably can see my presentation. Perfect. So yes, my name is Przemek Kucharzewski. I'm VP of CypherDog, responsible for sales, especially indirect sales, contacting with vendors, with distributors and partners. And at the beginning, I would like to say a few words about CypherDog. CypherDog is company with 2 branch offices, including Poland, where is a developers team, and in US, where is intellectual property. And my presentation is about differences between encryption, because in encryption, the most important thing is who has access to your keys you use for encryption. We made some research with our customers, of our partners, and after this research, we received a lot of interesting information. Because, for example, when we asked companies what is important for every company, for their company, they said that, for example, financial liquidity, continuity of operations, image, trust of customers, and level of sales. And you can imagine that all things I mentioned before, you can lose because of hackers. For example, financial liquidity, you can lose because you should pay ransom to hackers. Another way for losing money is invoice hacking, for example, or penalty from regulators, because there is a lot of regulators in different countries, in different regions of world, when you have penalty because you don't protect your data. Continuity of operations. It could be hackers attack because you cannot have access to your computer because of ransomware attack where all is encrypted. Image, trust of customers is very important, especially for professionals, for tax offices, consultant companies, for lawyers, for HR agencies. They all operate on very important data. If they have data leak, it means that they lose image and trust of customers. There is a lot of examples when after data leak, companies finish working, go to bankrupt, and this is a real problem. And level of sales, this is very important thing because, for example, economical espionage is very popular now, and very often companies don't know about that because the easiest way for fight not right is stealing your sales offer. And in my case, for example, a few years ago, I was a victim of economical espionage because I started with partner as a distributor in big tender in Europe for 20 million euros. And during listing list of offer, I know that our competitor has prices, 16 prices, 0.2% less. It means that it's easier to win lotto, frankly speaking. And you should imagine that there is a lot of different types of attacks, including economical espionage. Very often, you receive information that cyber incidents, it is not connected with your company, because we have some statistics and some research, and we receive always information that in 20% people said from companies that it doesn't concern me, I don't have important data. But this is not true, because in every company you have important data, including information about your employees, about your offers, about your invoices, about your agreements with somebody, and it's very important to protect all information. Very often I received information that only global companies are being attacked, but this is not true, because we can find information about big companies in media, because it's much better to see information is more popular, for example, about Acer, which paid 10 million USD for hackers on another company, American Pipeline, Garmin, and others. And this is not true that only global companies, because in 60% of victims and ransom which company pays, for example, to hackers, are small and medium companies. And nobody would like to inform the market that something happened, because this is not good for companies. Very often we received information as a cybersecurity company that I'm secured against the threats. But you should imagine that cybersecurity is whole environment. You should protect your infrastructure, your endpoint. You should have procedures in your company. You should have some trainings to your people, because cybersecurity is whole environment. For example, I just spent $3,000 for firewall, and the most I try to as like a joke that I have been attacked this year, it will not happen again. But this is not true, because another research give you info about that. I show it. But you should imagine that very important for your company is see what about your competitors do, about information about cyber accidents from local market, because very often you should imagine that hackers checked before attack your value, how money you can pay it, for example, or other thing. They know about your business and received, for example, order for your competitor to steal your data, to compromise your company, or they try to steal your offer in tender or other way about prices you sell to your customers, to receive such kind of information and have a competitive advantage for their company. And it means that that hackers can be have order from company or government ordered in hackers some information, and they try to receive information about your company, about your different information you have inside. But there is a lot of information about cyber accidents. You can imagine that there is every day in every country, including Israel, including countries from Europe, from US, from Singapore, from APAC region. There is always a lot of information about data breach, about hackers, about, for example, Acer, Garmin. But you can imagine that about 90% of cyber attacks nobody knows, because this is not good to show your customers, your vendors that something happened with data. So companies very often try to hide such kind of information that they were victims of cyber accidents. Uh, and for example, the maximum limit of invoice hacking was made for Facebook and Google by one Lithuanian man, which steal 123 million of USD. It means that such kind of big company, Facebook or Google, was not protected because it was connected with socio-technique, yes, that they exactly know when and who they should ask, and they send them, for example, invoices or information that somebody from account and financial office department should pay money to another account. If we see about statistics, as I mentioned before, last year official 46 billion USD was paid in ransom, but this is official statistic. FBI said that this is only 10% of global amount of money companies paid to hackers, and this is only ransom. Yes, this is ransomware. But I can back to this information. Consensus-wide poll, it was made 1 year ago, informed that 80% of victims of ransomware that decide to pay up to regain control over their infrastructure are attacked again the same year, and half of them by the same cyber criminals. It means that it's better to be protected than paid 2 times or 3 times very often, because hackers know that if somebody paid once, can pay second time. This is very interesting thing. It is from research from Checkpoint, and the Checkpoint said that cybercrime is growing. This is whole industry, because in this industry is involved with estimation between 8 up to 10 million people worldwide. And in 2025, this industry, this sector, cyber criminals, if we count all costs of cybercrime, including economical espionage, including ransom, including all things companies lose, it means that this is the third economy worldwide after USA and China. And you should imagine that this time of COVID, time of pandemic, and now time of war between Russia and Ukraine means that there is a lot of another attacks from different countries. Because, for example, we see in Central and Eastern Europe that about 74% of attacks is from Russia. It's totally changed to previous year, that in this time it was only 40. It means that this is another point, another way of fighting with other companies and countries. Something about small and medium market, because we see that this is very important segment of work. It means that enterprise market is better protected, but small and medium enterprises are not so good protected. And we see that worldwide spendings on cybersecurity is increasing. And there is in this area is a lot of attacks from different types. It is including economical espionage, invoice hacking, ransomware, phishing, and so on and so on. So something about encryption. Yes, we can see that encryption is another step of protection your endpoints after antivirus, anti-malware system, and backup, because this is the last level of protection. It is encryption, and you should think about encryption of your data which are transferred and you stored, because there are 2 types of data we protect as a CypherDog, but I show you more in next slides. It is very interesting that there is a lot of different regulation worldwide, including Europe, including USA, including your country, your region. For example, in European Union, we have DORA 2, this is connected with financial market, GDPR, and this regulation is, we can say this only not in Europe, but in other countries, especially now. For example, APAC countries have similar regulation for personal data. NIS2, NIS2, and there is a lot of companies which would like to certificate on ISO 27000. And if we see on encryption software market, it is increasing. It's much more increasing than whole cybersecurity market. But I think after Russian invasion on Ukraine, it could be more because estimation is that in this year encryption market will grow about 30 up to 40%. Okay, few words about CypherDog. This is a very easy application you can use. I will show you in a minute. And CypherDog at this moment give you possibility for data transfer. It means file transfer between two users of any size, because maximum file is up to 1 terabyte, but in standard version there is a limitation up to 20 gigabytes, but I think it's enough. But if you want more, this is possible. We offer encrypted cloud storage, we offer local data encryption, and we offer at this moment text communicator, text messenger for desktop and mobile devices. But we are still working on our solution, so we will have new features in chat, including voice messages, including communication with many users in one time, and some UX improvement. And we are still working on something new, which will be included on CypherDog in desktop application. There will be plugins for email content and attachment encryption, which will be used CypherDog all cryptographic assumptions. Yes, and I think that this is good time to show you application. This is desktop client. CypherDog is hard client. This is not the web service. But why not web service? Because we are based on asymmetric encryption, which use two keys. One is public key and another one is private key, which should be private, not stored on our server as a vendor of application, as a vendor of tool. And this application is working on two or three operating systems, including Windows, including Mac OS, and including Linux. So it's for all platforms, we can say 99.9%. And after creation of your account, there is a creation of two keys, as I mentioned before, private and public key. And this private key, you should backup on other device, and it depends on the version. In premium version, it could be your pen drive, your external disk drive, or QR code. But in enterprise version, all private keys are stored in special place. It means in vault, which is on your local infrastructure on one server in your company. It depends on implementation, and you choose where private keys or all people who have access to CypherDog in your company can be stored. On the left side, you can see the address book, and you can add people for your address book only if they have CypherDog's account. It means that you can click here plus add contact, and you can put name or email of this person you would like to invite. But if somebody has no CypherDog's account, application will send to him email with information that he can install CypherDog Premium for communication, and this application in trial version is working for 2 weeks. And after that, after 2 weeks, there is a possibility to upgrade it, putting license code for full version, or this application is going to the simple mode. It means that allows you only decrypt files you received from another user. And you can see this address book, and we as a CypherDog, we don't know who is in your address book because it's encrypted. And you have different statuses. After sending invitation, this person will receive it and can accept or reject this invitation. And after accepting invitation, this person is in address book. And there are different statuses. For example, red one, red log means that this person didn't accept my invitation. Yellow one, that somebody accepted my invitation, and green one means that I met with Philip face to face, and we used the mobile application for confirming identity, and I know in 100% that this person is this person. So it means I can check it and do it this authorization using QR code. And this is the main window of communication. For example, in this window, I can put text messages, so I can say hello. It means that this text is automatically encrypted using asymmetric encryption. So it means that you shouldn't add during communication an additional passwords codes, because during login to application, you give your login data, you give your password to application, which you can change, and there is another passport for your private key, which is encrypted whole time. So it's very important to remember that and make copy of your private key. From this view, you can transfer files using this plus, for example, finding some important data, or okay, it should be something, my old Garmin, yes, which I try to sell. I forget about that. And in this moment, this file is automatically encrypted and transferred. And there is information that that Philip, who I sent this file, received this file. And there will be in next edition of our application possibility for sending whole confirmation about file transfer. It means that that two sides of communication will receive the email that somebody sent to another person file at which time. And as I mentioned before, the maximum size of file is about is one terabyte. In standard version, there is 20 gigabytes. So it's I think enough. You can download sended files to you using, for example, this feature. Yes, if I click there, it means that I will download this file, and this file will be automatically decrypted using my private key as a receiver, and I have only access as a receiver to private key. It's not stored in the cloud on our servers, so it's very important. And what else? What else? I can say that I can send files using drag and drop technology. Is very important. And there is another view. You can see that this is cloud storage, and for one user is maximum capacity 500 gigabytes, which can be increased if you want. And you have folders, and you have some files, and you can add files using this plus, or you can use drag and drop technology. And you can, from the level of cloud, you can send files to another user. But this is not just a sharing link. This is whole set of operations. For example, if I check here, I will try to send to another person. For example, it could be Philip, and I said, okay. And in this time, there is a whole set of operation, because file is downloaded, decrypted using my private key, because I'm owner of this file. After that is encrypted using public key of Philip, and only Philip using his private key can decrypt them. So a third view, it is local storage, and it's very similar to cloud storage, but all files you can see here are stored on my notebook. And it means that I can make the same, and there is no limitation. It is clear. and it is normal that you have access to your files in cloud storage for whole time you have license, and after license this is 1 month if you would like to prolong your application. And at the last place you can find information about settings. You can make every time backup to your device on USB device, for example, pen drive, external disk drive, print as QR code. In enterprise version, as I mentioned before, there is an additional feature for storing private keys on Vault. In Vault, this is place for secret places, which is encrypted too. We have info about devices because one user can have 99 devices, including mobiles which operate on Android or iOS. And mobile application allows you to communicate in text mode and authorized contacts. And there is some preferences there. You can choose your language if you want and change session time. So I think this application is very easy to use. There is no something different. Premium version is very easy to install. It's similar to install an antivirus software. So you should download it and start to communicate with another user of application, because you should have two applications. There should be two users which can use CypherDog. Okay. CypherDog guarantees few things. Yes, it is protection against corporate espionage, including stealing offers, stealing prices, stealing invoices, agreements, strategic information about company, M&A, and other things, because this information should be protected. And protection against invoice hacking, because you can imagine that you should know that in CypherDog file you send, you will transfer to another user without any changes, because nobody has access to content of file. This is protection against data leaks. If you imagine about data leaks of big database of personal data, is very important to protect them. This is prevention against new generation of ransomware with double extortion, because new generation of ransomware is very dangerous, because the first stage of attack is stealing your data. After that is encryption of your data. And hackers would like to receive money, not only for sending you a decryption key or decryption application, but they said, we have your data. You should pay for that, because we show everybody that we have, for example, list of your customers, information about your customers, about deals, agreements, and other things. And CypherDog guarantees safe, private, and encrypted communication. And this is for different regulations which are worldwide, including GDPR, because, for example, sensitive data in GDPR, you should encrypt whole time, especially in healthcare sector. This is DORA, NIS2, and other regulation. Okay, few words about differences between two versions. So I said that there is a premium and enterprise version, but application for customer looks the same, because this is the same application. In enterprise version, one license is for many users. You can imagine that there is company which need, for example, 60 users, and this is one license, and there is admin console which allows you to manage users. It means add, suspend, delete user, and at the beginning, using panel admin, you should decide which domains should be available for users. It means which emails they can use. And in enterprise version, as I mentioned before, private keys are stored in Vault, not on pen drives, because it's very hard to imagine that admin guy should go to everybody, especially in time of remote work, and make backup of private key. And another difference is that that in enterprise version you can download address book and have it's made automatically. And we as CypherDog, we deliver whole script which install Vault, which install proxy server, because Vault has no connection to the internet, and all process of communication is made between client application and proxy and vault through proxy server. So we deliver proxy server too. So I think that's the main differences. If we see on premium enterprise version, this license includes Messenger on mobile device, but Messenger can be used without desktop application. So it means that in next version, which we plan, as I mentioned before at the beginning, we plan to add plugins for email content and attachments encryption, but I think it happened in Q4 or late Q3. What is difference between CypherDog to others? First one is that there is no trusted third party. It means that there is nobody between sender and receiver during communication who has access to data. We don't use any telco operator for confirming identity using text message. We don't need an additional certification center. There is nobody big like Facebook, Google, Amazon, Apple, and other companies. And we, as a CypherDog, we have no access to your data, so we are not the third party. We are based on real asymmetric encryption. It means that this is real asymmetric encryption when private key is on the side of user and we have no access to them. Because in many solutions, there is only symmetric encryption. It means that for encryption and decryption is using the same key. In encryption, the most important thing is who has access to keys. And it's a good point to use hyperbole, which I use very often. It means self-storage. And in self-storage, this is kind of business when you would like to store your things in special private room. Or you can imagine that this storage is place when you can receive files or info or packages or boxes you are sent to you. And in normal way, this is a situation that you are as a customer, you are going to self-storage and there is a receptionist and you show your ID and receptionist is giving you your key from the box, which is available on the wall, for example. The second method of authorization and verification your ID is reading text message you received by SMS from your telco operator on number you put in the agreement during signing. And the third method of verification your identity is telling the last 5 digits of your ID number and name of your mother from home, for example. But such kind of information you can find in different places. So you can see that that there is a lot of places that somebody can thief your ID. But the main problem is that your keys to your rooms are in the building. It means that this guy, receptionist, has access to them. This is the first point. Your keys and other keys can be stolen by hackers, by other, or receptionists can be be asked by other. You can offer somebody to him money. On somebody can say that give me keys because I know that you have, for example, your daughter, or I show you that you have lover to your wife, and so on and so on. So it means that this is the most danger thing. It's the same that you could you imagine that you have armored door with very professional door, but keys are under the doormat. It means that this is not secure. So in our solution, if you compare to this self-storage, it means that every customer who is going to self-storage building have own key in their pocket and nobody has access to this room. This is the main difference. Our solution is zero knowledge, zero security model. It means that if user lose their private key, we don't help them because it is not possible we have no access to them. It is very important to know about that. We cover and protect our private key in maximum way. This private key is always encrypted too. if somebody want more information, I will send to this person some details about encryption. We have face-to-face identity confirmation, full anonymization, and metadata uncollection, because there is a lot of software which is collecting a lot of metadata. For example, phone numbers, for example, who with whom is talking, who is sending files, IP, localization, time of connection, and other things. We don't collect any data. We have access only to email you use during installation application and creating account. And this is only one thing we stored about user. We don't need more. Very often user use email which is anonymous without name and surname inside. What else? We are using public keys in blockchain. We have some patented cryptographic methods. For example, I can show you two patent applications which are 2.5 years old. It means that in next 6 months we will receive whole patent, and this patent is in US, and we have registered trademark, and we received during last year. This is mainly a lot of prizes in different countries, especially in Poland. Notices. What is important if we talk about CypherDog? That the basis for company is security audit. I can say it means it shouldn't be some advanced security audit, but I show you in next slide some information about processes can be protected by CypherDog, because I think that in every company there is a 10, 20 communication processes which could be or should be protected by encryption, especially if we talk about exchanging of documents between companies, because your email can be protected. But if you send any important information, important file to somebody outside your company, you don't know who has access to them. So it's very important. Very often, encryption is competitive advantage of company. It means you can imagine two law companies which operate in the same city, the same area, but they have similar lawyers, and you can imagine that for them it could be for customers additional thing that they choose company which protect their data, because a lot of customers know that their data are very important. Paid license of CypherDog is not required for every employee, because very often I said, okay, this is company from 200 people, 500 people, I should buy for everybody. No, you protect processes. You should think which processes are in your company important, which processes you should protect, and this is way of thinking during implementing of CypherDog. Very often there is a situation that company protect one process, for example, exchanging file between external accounting firm and after that and company, and after that they add some additional process communication with HR agency and so on and so on. Very important is think that license can be purchased by a different company than user of solution. It means that it could happen that, for example, lawyer company, because this sector is I think about 30% of our customers, lawyer company can have licenses for their own use, and lawyer company can buy licenses for their user, because for example, the customers of lawyer company have subscription, I don't know, $2,000 per month. But in this case, lawyer company is giving this company a few license for communication. Decryption is possible with free license. It means that if you can imagine asymmetric process, it means that from one source data are sent, for example, invoices, for example, offers to group of customers. The receiver don't need a payable version. It could be free version, but this version allows users only decrypt received files. And very often somebody asks me why I should install something. Because the answer is easy because of security. If we use any web server, it means that we have access to your key, to your data as a vendor. And if you can imagine that user login and put login and password on any website, it means that there is possibility that hackers can use this information to steal their data. So the best way for protection of documents is asymmetric encryption. But you can imagine that you install different application like Adobe Acrobat Reader on WinZip, and nobody has nothing against that. This is not the last point, but I show you this Excel sheet. I think this is good homework for everybody, because you can imagine that every company has such kind of departments inside. It means the supervisory board, management, legal department, HR department, accounting, finance, and so on and so on. And there is a list of processes. There is, I think 16 processes together. For example, communication with external legal firm, external accounting office, and other companies inside, outside, for example, internal communication of the board, management, and critical departments, sales process, purchasing process, R&D and technological information, communication with, for example, insurance broker, communication with bank, with very important documents, financial statements. And in this matrix, the numbers of people can use CypherDog because they are engaged in such kind of process. And in this situation, you can count how many licenses they use inside or outside, because, for example, they would like to have a license for external legal firm, 2 licenses, 2 users. So it means that this application can be bought in monthly subscription, yearly subscription, or 2 or 3 years upfront. So I think that's all from my side, and this is good time for questions if you have. You are muted.
We have several questions that regarding people that would like to try the product and people that will like to have the PowerPoint too. Okay, so if you send me the I have the PowerPoint, so I'll send it to them. No problem.
Okay, I will send information you need, including PDF and information how to install and try to use CypherDog in premium version, because it will work in 2 weeks with all features.
Great.
And after that, there is a possibility to prolong this trial period if you need before like POC. So it's not a problem to test this application. And always we can meet one-to-one and talk about CypherDog, about details. If somebody is interested in more details regarding cryptography, including methods, algorithms, I opened, so we can talk about that, or I can send it to Ricardo, and Ricardo will send to all people who would like to receive such kind of information.
But I think it was fascinating, President. Thank you very much. I think that what you said at the beginning, level of protection and the endpoint, it's super important. I think that people don't realize the information they have, such sensible information, especially as you said, legal or finance. This is the best way to keep hackers out of the data.
Yes, but you can imagine that hackers have orders from your competitors for work and steal some data. As I mentioned before, I was a victim. It was tendered for 20 million euro, and we lose. We spent 3 months for preparing for that, because it was for hardware, yes, and developing some special application. And our competitor have information that should give prices 0.2% lower.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Thank you very much again. And it was a pleasure seeing you, all of you here. Thank you, President. It was
Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye to all.